Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is never a dull day when you get to talk about Brie Larson. She's probably one of the most famous people on the internet in terms of hating on this person. And she definitely makes herself an easy target. Let's be real. The amount of content she has made for YouTubers is ridiculous, and she's just a gift that keeps on giving. Now, apparently, the Marvels has a little bit of a scandal going on because they are so unconfident regarding this movie that they have actually put in a review embargo until 2 days before the release of the movie. And a lot of analysts are speculating that Disney is apparently abandoning the film. Now, I think that's a little bit extreme. I don't think Disney is abandoning this film. They're not going to abandon their feminist glory. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not what they do. But I do think that they don't have a lot of faith in how good this movie is going to do, or coupled with the fact that the budget is so ridiculous, I don't think they can even reach it. And they know damn well that this movie is probably not going to get anywhere close as the original Captain Marvel. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. It says critics' reviews for the upcoming The Marvels film have been embargoed until 2 days before the film releases in theaters, with analysts speculating on whether it's a bad sign for the film. Eric Davis, the managing director of Fandango, reported on X, looks like the first reactions for The Marvels will drop on November 7th at 9 p.m. or 12 a.m. Eastern. He added reviews drop the next morning, November 8th. The film arrives in theaters everywhere on November 10th, betting there's a lot of surprises in this one. When questioned if the reactions being embargoed until just 3 days before release was a bad sign, Davis responded, Avengers Endgame premiered 4 days before release, so no. While Davis claims that the review embargo is not a bad sign for the film, other analysts and industry trackers disagree. Analyst Luis Fernando wrote on X, currently both social media reactions and critics' full review embargo will be lifted only on early morning of Wednesday, November 8th, same day the Marvel kicks off its global rollout in several European and Asian markets such as Korea, Hong Kong, France, Italy, Germany, and others, and just 1 day before THU previews happen in the US. Very unusual for an MCU film. Even Endgame, which had the mission to keep secrets under wraps for as long as possible, allowed social media reactions on Monday, 2 days before its rollout kickoff and 3 days prior to US previews nights. Well, let's be honest here, okay? I don't think anybody is excited for this movie, okay? I don't think this has to do anything with spoilers, all right? I really don't think spoilers are going to be the focus of this embargo. I think this embargo is strictly meant to silence the dissenting opinions that are obviously going to be coming out from this movie. We know that a lot of people are just aching to roast on this movie, and we know, based off what a lot of people are saying about the movie who have seen it, it's not looking good, okay? Like, it is not looking good at all, and they just don't have a good shot at making their money. They're just not going to. I don't think this movie is going to do anywhere close to what it could have done if they just would have made it somewhat interesting, but they're too focused on telling a girl boss story that, unfortunately for them, they're not really going to make a lot of money for it. But this whole thing is meant to just silence opinions, ladies and gentlemen. That is all it's for. Nothing more, nothing less. This embargo is meant to try to make it seem as if this movie is so unbelievably popular that everybody's just going to just die to see it. Everybody's dying to see it. They don't want the truth to come out, but they know that they can only hold the truth forever, and they obviously can't. So they need to put an embargo for as close to the release date as possible to minimize the obvious loss that they're going to experience once the truth comes out. It says, he continued, but it's not only Disney that seems not that enthusiastic about the film. Pre-sales for the Marvels have been the weakest for an MCU film. Post-Coof, yeah, even under Eternals. This movie is doing worse than Eternals. Can you imagine? Eternals was literally like the bare bone bottom, right? Like, so if you got compared to Eternals, that was bad, right? That was really, really bad. Now imagine getting compared to Eternals, but actually doing worse than Eternals. Now you're talking really, really bad. People just don't care, man. People don't care. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, the first Captain Marvel was required to go see, right? Like, a lot of people felt that if they didn't go see Captain Marvel, they were going to be missing out on something. They were going to be missing out on some sort of important story that was relevant to the overarching Infinity Saga. They thought that if they didn't go see this movie, it was going to be bad news bears for them. So what do? They went to go see this movie. A lot of people went out in droves to go see the initial Captain Marvel movie because they knew that they kind of had to, right? Now you don't have that driving force. You don't have that driving story that is making people have to say, oh, I need to go see this movie. And if I don't see this movie, I'm going to miss something. They don't have that feeling anymore. Nobody even cares. That's how sad this is. Nobody cares about your overarching cinematic universe that they're like, you know what? I'll just skip it. It's fine. I'll just watch it on streaming. It's eventually going to come out on Disney Plus anyway. So there's really no reason for me to even watch it in the theaters. It's not that big of a deal. I don't have to go for that experience. But to do worse than Eternals is pretty damn terrible. Then it says, and for Disney to be so adamant in preventing people from talking about the film prior to its release, it can mean that the studio might fear that word of mouth won't do the Marvels any favors either, he asserted. Analyst and YouTuber Valiant Renegade also shared his assessment. In the case of this situation, this is one where they are not going to allow any reviews of any kind to come out on this movie until its opening day. That's a bit of a head scratcher. He added, a lot of folks out there will be forgiven for thinking that Disney has no confidence in his film and fear that if reviews come out too soon, it's going to spoil what little hype there is for this film that may still remain by that point. And don't forget, this is even with Disney allegedly paying for positive reviews by actual reviewers on places like Rotten Tomatoes, he added. Valiant Renegade will later note that it appears that the Walt Disney Company is shifting its marketing away from the Marvels and putting it towards their upcoming animated film Wish instead. He noted that Fernando also made this assessment on X in response to another user pointing it out. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if they're trying to shift all their marketing dollars, whatever marketing dollars they have, away from this movie if they know this movie's going to do bad. At least with Wish, that's more of a brand new IP, so they have to actually actively market it because people just don't know about it, right? Whereas Miss Marvel or the Marvels or Captain Marvel, people kind of already know about that, and they have their deciding, opinions about whether or not they're actually going to go see it based on those characters, right? So if you're not a fan of Captain Marvel, if you're not a fan of Miss Marvel, if you're not a fan of Monica Rambeau, are you going to go see this movie? Probably not, right? And Disney already knows this. So they're not going to heavily market this film because they just don't have to. They're going to do light marketing, and anybody who is going to see it is already going to see it. And I highly doubt that with any marketing, they're going to be able to sway people to go see it. I highly doubt it. There's just nothing in this movie that's going to make people want to get up and say, you know what? I need to go buy a ticket. I have to go see it opening day. I need to go right now. It's just not happening. I just don't think this movie has those kind of legs. Valiant Renegade says, but is it really that weird? I want you to think back a year ago when Disney was anticipating the release of Strange World. The movie was tracking very poorly, and something that WDW Pro and I both noticed is that marketing seemed to be shifting away from that film. The original dollars that Disney would have allocated from distribution to pay for advertising was shifted over to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Matter of fact, we have heard some news from some of our sources that seem to confirm exactly that. So this would not be the first time that Disney, or any studio for that matter, would make a decision like that. He said, at some point you have to understand that you need to cut your losses, and spending an extra $100 million to market a film above and beyond maybe $50 to $60 million to maybe $80 million, just enough to get people's attention, might not get you any more ticket sales, and therefore is a waste of money. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where we're at. I think with the Marvels, we are exactly at that point where they know that it's going to be a loss no matter what. So why are they going to continue to drop money on that movie when they know damn well they're not going to be recouping that money? So to add more money to that budget, to add more money to their deficit on that movie makes absolutely no sense, and they might as well just shift the money to a brand new IP that nobody knows in the hopes that it takes off, knowing that they're going to be able to get a lot of money from the international market on that animated movie, especially if they market it properly. So we'll see what Disney ends up doing, but I think the Marvels is going to be a massive flop, the likes of which we haven't seen in quite a long time. And if I'm wrong, I'll definitely let you know. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.